Hello everybody, welcome into Rock Painting 101. This month we are focusing on blending. We're going to be doing a lot of different tutorials. I have linked to all the ones we have on the site, but I'm going to be hopping on live and sharing some of the tutorials live, working through some of the problems you might come across when blending on rocks, and answering questions. So if you're in here and it says live in the upper left-hand corner, that means I am here right now. So feel free to ask questions. I'll try to glance up and down as much as possible to get to those for you. Today I'm going to be working with acrylic paint blending. I've got one rock here. We're just going to kind of do a nice fade from dark to light. I've got this process on the site where we use like these makeup sponges. Usually it's a radial, one color blended to a second color. This rock was done with the same technique we're going to use today. I just did it two-tone instead of fading from dark to light. So you can use your base coated rocks if you use a nice fun blending for lots of fun rocks. You can do designs on them. They make good word rocks. These were blended with pens, but you can see you can just add cute little phrases to them to hide around town. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my dark color, and I'm just going to base out my rock basically. Just to get a good, nice, thick coat of paint down to be working with. So you can do a shape with this, or just kind of use the shape of the rock for your base shape. That's what I'm going to do. I just want to cover the surface that's going to be facing upwards. I like to do fun designs or words on these most of the time, so I always try to lay it flat and see just what's going to be showing. And painted that. And I do a lot of word rocks. That's kind of where my whole rock painting obsession, you could say, started, was doing kindness rocks. They're fun to hide around town, positive messages on them. And I'm not going to focus too much on my outside edge because I'm going to clean it up when it's all finished. I just want to get the general idea of my shape down on my rock. Like so. And you want a nice thick coat of paint because that's going to help in your blending process. Just like that. Okay. Good morning, Linda, all the way from Hawaii. I'm just rinsing off my brush here. I don't have my water in frame. I can't fit everything in frame, but it's not going to be what I'm using a lot of this morning. Good morning, Sharon. Thanks for joining in, guys. There we go. Okay, now I've got makeup brushes here. These are those foam brushes you can buy in the stores. They're pretty cheap. You get them in giant bags. I have them linked in the supply shop, but for the most part, you're going to just want to go to like either Dollar Tree or Target or Walgreens and grab a bag. They're going to be cheaper there. But if you want to see the product better, you can look in the Amazon shop. Good morning, Ruthie. Good morning, Phyllis. Good morning, Sue. Or good afternoon, Sue. It's afternoon there in Ohio, isn't it? So I've got one of them that I just cut in half because I'm cheap and I like to make them last longer. If you're doing a fade side to side, you will want the full shape so that you can blend between the two colors on the same one. But for doing the radial style, I did cut them in half. I'm going to keep one dry for finishing up our outside edge when we're done, and we're going to do one that we're going to use the light color. Good morning, Anna. Good morning, Angela. Hello, Isabella, all the way from France. Amazing. Welcome in, everybody. So what I'm going to put down on my palette next is I have this lighter blue that I'm going to add first. And then I've also got white. We're going to do, oh, I got a little piece of dry paint there. A little bit of white there in the end. Oops, I don't think you can see all of my palette. Let's give it a spin there. Okay, so we're going to start right in the center of our rock with our light blue. So we're going to go right into that light blue with our sponge and dab starting in the middle. And add a layer there, get some more, add a layer there, and then we're going to slowly work our way to the outside edge. And you don't have to be perfect with this. It's just going to pull up some of that dark paint, and that's okay. I do try to do it kind of in a radial shape when I'm getting out to the darker edge. Add some more of your light blue. Maybe, oop, I got a little bit of white. You just always start in the center and then slowly dab your way out towards the edge. It's really a very Simple technique. Just remember, when you get towards that edge, to kind of move your sponge in that radial direction until you get more paint on it. And see how simple that is? Good morning, Mary. You've already got this beautiful base coated effect. Do you like that? So I always have my second sponge that I use just in case. It just depends on how much paint you have on here. But you can use a second sponge to clean up the edge, or you can just kind of dab just the littlest bit, just that very tip, whichever side is darker, onto that dark blue again. And you can go along your edge if you get too light and kind of bring the dark further in if you need. The main thing is you want to make sure that you have a good amount of paint on your sponge so that you're leaving paint behind and not just picking it up. Just like that. Okay, so we've got a really beautiful blend there. You see how easily that was done? And go from light straight to dark. You don't see any lines in between. Now, when this is all said and done, what I usually do is I come back with a liner style brush, and you can clean up your edges. Like if you have any, see this edge right here got a little bit fuzzy from the sponge. You can come right in with a liner brush, and since you worked all the way to that dark color, you can come in and fix that pretty easily. Like so. Just like that. And again, once these dry, they make perfect word rocks, or you can do fun mandala style designs, dotting designs. Really anything can go on top of something like this. Now, if I was going to do a white design in the center, like this one, I already envisioned doing something like I did on this rock. I want to do little shapes coming from the edge. So I'll do a nice thick white outline, and then start doing my designs on top. And you can use this same technique to do this blending just between two colors. And we're going to do one like that next while you guys are on. So it's kind of the same technique. I'm just rinsing off my brush back here. I'm out of frame, but I just need to rinse my brushes, like to keep them clean if possible. So I'm going to move this one over here out of the page a little bit. All right, I've just got another rock right here. I'm going to scoot that back just a smidge. Now, in doing this style of rock where you're going to go from the dark to light, it's just a slight difference in it, as you're going to use your whole sponge because you're going to want to get that nice blend between the two colors. And so you're going to need a little bit more surface space. You could most definitely just start with the light and blend upwards as well if you want to conserve sponges. So I'm just going to take my big brush here. I'm going to use the same colors because I like to use up my paint. And I'm going to just base the very top of this one with the dark color. Like so. I'm going to need to get some more of my light blue here. I'm going to rinse out my brush really quick. I didn't grab an extra brush. Hello, Sandy. Hello, Deb. So if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, we decided this year on the page, each month we're going to focus on a specific skill set, something people tend to have a hard time with. I am mixing a little white in with my blue. I want this nice and light at the bottom. So this month we are working on blending. There's lots of different techniques for blending paints. There's also lots of mediums. Some people use paint pens. Some people use acrylic paints. So we're going to do some lives and go over some of the techniques. We've got a lot of these on the website. The link that I have above links to all the different stuff we're doing as the month goes on. So you can go to our supply page. You can go to our site for painting ideas. All sorts of different information in there. But I figure I can just leave one link above, and you guys can work from there. Now you can go ahead, you know what? I'm switching it up right in the middle. You saw the sponge. I'm just going to use with my brush here because not everybody has these sponges on hand. So if you're blending from a light to a dark, get a good base going. You'll probably end up adding more paint here at the bottom. I always like to blend from light into my dark. So once you've got a good base on here, more blue, you're going to go right up into your dark paint, just like that. You got to work while your paint's still wet. Come down just a little bit. Get that nice blended space there in the middle. Just like that, okay? You can wipe off your brush. I just use these really cheap cloths, guys. And you can get a little bit more of your dark blue and get that top a little bit thicker. And then you can work kind of back down into your light. It's really that easy. The biggest problem I think a lot of people have when they're blending their rocks is use too much pressure or too much water. Work with your paints while they're wet. Try to avoid having a lot of water on your brush if you can. Now, if your paints start to dry on you, either get some more paint on your brush and just go back at that layer again. I prefer to do that over getting more water on your rock because you'll end up washing off a lot of your paint. A damp brush is okay, but you don't want a wet brush. But just that simple. And a very light touch when you get into the blending area. I mean, very light strokes back and forth. And you'll accomplish that nice gradient blend that you're looking for. So I see some people that are joining in now. I'm just finishing up actually for today. We're working on 2 different blending styles. I decided to swap up in the middle just to show you 2 different styles depending on what supplies you have at home. So I already posted the prompt. I'm going to add a little bit more dark here at the top. I already posted the prompt for the month. For Monday, every Monday, we'll be posting pictures of our blended rocks. So go ahead and give one of these methods a try and then come back and share in the picture. Nice and light. Once you get to where you're blending, nice and light. You can always add more paint. But if you push too hard, you might just mess it all up. There you go. So go ahead and leave a blended rock on the prompt that I had this Monday, and then either pick a different method to try a different method for blending, or use the same method over and over and try to develop your skill level on the blending. I know a lot of people were having issues with that, so that's why we went with it this month. Some other live tutorials I'll be doing this month is blending with paint pens. And we'll try a few other things too. We might grab a few other mediums that we can use on our rocks. So thanks everybody that's joining in. Hello Melissa, hello Sia. If it says live in the corner, I'm on now. If you have any questions, leave them now before I get off. For those that you are joining a little bit later, I showed these at the beginning, things to do with your blended rocks. You make fun word rocks with them, or you can create pretty designs on them. They give you just a great base that you can work with after. So I'm going to let these dry completely, and then I'll do some fun things on them and add them in the comments. And we will see you all later on or next week with another live, and I'll post some other fun tutorials to get you like in the Valentine's mood throughout the week. So thanks for joining in, everybody. Bye-bye.